the average Christian that maybe hasn't studied this, they read the Old Testament, they see Israel. Oh, Israel, look, oh, over there, Israel.
It's just the same word.
It's the same word, and a lot of politicians, Americans, the Israelis, Benjamin Netanyahu himself said that the Bible Christians, the Christian Bible supports them being a state.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's for anything that's in the best interest of his nation being financially supported.
Right, and America being a strong, founded in a strong Christian ethic, Christian nation, he's got to garner that support. I get that. However, the average Christian's going to hear that and they're going to be like, I got to support. Well, clearly this is true Israel. This is God's people. We got to bless them. And it's like you have unfortunately raised Old Testament Israel. You've raised this nation state of Israel today above Jesus Christ, his people, and his gospel. Think about this. The early church in the book of Acts, the first believers to enter the church were Jewish Christians, right? So they were the first people in the church. They were the receivers of the promises in full because they believed in Jesus, the Son, the true Israel. So they were a part of this ethnic Israelite group in the early church, but they saw Jesus, they believed in Jesus. Now they're with Jesus, and they're going to inherit the entire world along with us who are believing in Jesus. So it's like the early church was all Jewish Christians, and then the Gentiles come onto the scene, and you see both worshiping Jesus and being brought into God's chosen people. So you have to keep into account, like when Jesus said, I will build my church, the first believers for a while were just Jews. And there was no separation of Israel and the church. No, this was one people in Jesus Christ, one people of God, one covenant community.
The modern day Israelis, like they're Jewish, correct? Don't they reject Jesus still as the Messiah?
Yeah. So you have like Ashkenazi Jews, Sephardic Jews, and who knows what is true Jewishness. I'm not an expert on that. I don't really know. But the people over there, you have Orthodox Jews, people who say they're Jewish, right? And there was diaspora Jews spread out across Europe, all that. But today in Israel, especially those who are more Orthodox Jewish believers, yes, they practice Judaism. They do not believe in Jesus Christ. They do reject the gospel.
Well, see, that's what's so interesting to me is how people can still think that that the people group that is rejecting Jesus is still God's chosen people. Like that's been the thread that I'm like, we got to back up for just a second. You're saying that the people group that still rejects Jesus as the Messiah is God's chosen people? That doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't. And
I want to be delicate too.
Yeah, and 100%. And again, gentle. We want to be gentle, but at the same time, I do think there has been a major deception in that thought process of like, these people reject the gospel, they reject Jesus. And we know Romans 11 talks about the hardening of Israel and Jews in the first century. However, anybody who rejects Jesus is not saved, or is not God's chosen people, is not going to heaven. Unfortunately, I have heard people say that because Jews are God's chosen people today, that they're also going to heaven. And it's just like, pause.
Regardless of whether they accept Jesus as the Messiah or not?
Correct. But regardless of Jesus. And that's scary to me.
Yeah.
But they're in these streams that we've just discussed, these kinds of people, and they believe that, because he chose them in the Old Testament, they're going to heaven, even if they don't believe in Jesus. And I'm like, you have not read all the Jews that wrote the New Testament, Paul, Peter, James, John, Matthew. You haven't read their writings if you believe that. Jesus is the only way. So again, it's a fundamental misunderstanding that Jesus came even to fulfill being the true Israel. Jesus Christ is the true Israel of God, the true Son of God, the true chosen, the true Holy One, the true beloved one. Every title that was given to Israel is given to Jesus in the New Testament.